Hey there, this is Jennifer Simonetti-Bryan, Master of Wine here at the Weekly Tasting, and now we are off to Sicily. Sicily, if you've not been, is absolutely stunning, and it's part of Italy, and it's at the southern toe of the boot of Italy, if that's where you want to find it on a map. It has been known since ancient times for its fruits and vegetables and produce, and also for its wine. And in fact, Sicily might be new for us in America, but in ancient times it's been known, so it's been known for thousands of years, but also even in Europe today. For Italy, Sicily is the second most important region for volume outside of the Veneto. So it's pretty important, and I love this pack because it's incredible value and they're very, very crowd pleasing. So let's go through the wines. The first wine is Insolia. You might see it spelled with a Z or with an S, but Insolia is indigenous to Sicily. It is a white grape variety, and you may know it even though you may not know you know it. Have you ever had chicken marsala? When you use marsala to make that chicken marsala, which is a fortified wine from Sicily, it's made with Insolia, or at least in ancient times it was the most important grape variety to use in marsala. But here it's not fortified, it's made into a still white wine, and it is beautiful. If you like Pinot Grigio or Oregon Pinot Gris, you're gonna love this wine. It is kind of middle of the road everything, which makes it an incredible crowd pleaser. On the nose, it has some beautiful white peach, very, very floral, and a little bit of honeysuckle there, and a little minerality, so you know that it's from the old world. On the palate, it is medium body, medium alcohol. The acidity is a little bit lower than what you would find for Pinot Grigio, but probably more in style with a Pinot Gris, even though it's the same grape variety. But Insolia is very beautiful. And what I love about these wines in particular is that on the back label, they show you a map of Sicily and where the wines come from. And I always like looking on a map and pointing to it and being able to say, I know where that comes from, and being able to associate the taste with the map and the grape variety. So on the back label, it'll show you that this wine comes from the Palermo Highlands in northwest Sicily. And because it's higher in elevation there, you have, we talked about how every time you go up 100 meters in elevation or altitude, it goes down a degree and the berries get smaller. So you get a lot more concentration and richness of flavor, but it also keeps the acidity quite high. I wouldn't say this is a high acid wine, but it's very well balanced, because sometimes Insolia can be some low acid or modest acidity, which we call flatty or blousy. I know these are strange words, but this is perfectly balanced. And what I would pair with this is probably along the lines of shellfish, whether it's lobster or crab or shrimp or scallops. Scallops might actually be some of the best that you go with this. If you have grilled scallops, what's going to happen is you're going to get that sweetness of the scallops. It's going to bring out some of that white peach and stone fruit kind of flavor in the wine. And then you're just going to have this little bit of finish, a little bit of a honeysuckle on the finish. So that's going to be an incredible pairing for this wine. The next wine we have is Frappato. Frappato is a red grape variety, and it is indigenous to Sicily, and these are all certified organic wines that we're showing here. And this wine Frappato reminds me of Beaujolais, if you like Beaujolais, or perhaps Pinot Noir, but it's not as high in acidity. It has a beautiful red raspberry and red cherry kind of nose to it, so it's on the red end of the spectrum, and it's got a little floral hint to it. But there's no oak. This is not a heavy wine. This is also a very big crowd pleaser. So if you have people who like light-bodied, kind of juicy wines, this one is for you. I love Frappato. And on the palate, it is very well balanced in its acidity, so it's not as high as Pinot Noir. probably in the level of Beaujolais. So it's medium to medium high, perhaps, but it's low tannin. You're not going to get any bitterness on this wine. And this is a wine, a red wine, that can be paired with seafood, and you could probably, I wouldn't go too heavy on the meat. So this is not something you're going to pair with filet mignon because it'll totally cover up the flavor of the wine. But in Sicily, they normally pair this wine with pasta with anchovies and breadcrumbs. So that tells you a little bit about what they would pair it with. So if you want to pair this with, let's say, a salmon, you can do that. That would be lovely. But this is more of a first course entree or a juicy first starter wine for you. And I absolutely love this wine. I could have this again and again. I could probably have this every night, but hopefully you'll try that and see what works for you. The last wine in the pack is Nero d'Avola. Nero d'Avola is the name of the grape, and it literally translates to black from Avola, so black grape from Avola. Nero d'Avola is indigenous to Sicily, and it's also from the region of Noto, this particular wine, which is not too far from Syracuse or Siracusa in Sicily on the eastern side. And this region sees very little rain, and Nero d'Avola is usually planted in the sunniest of areas because this is kind of a beach bunny of a grape. If you, unlike the Frappato, if you like, let's say, Merlot or more the black fruit end of the spectrum, so plum and blackberry or black cherry, you're gonna love this wine. It's like Merlot, but without that tea leaf kind of thing. This one also doesn't see any yolk, so you're seeing the purity of the fruit of this wine. It's also quite juicy, but it's a little bit heartier than the Frappato. Like I said, if you like Merlot, you're gonna like this wine. And what I like is that it doesn't have very high tannins. It's probably low to medium, so it's not as low as the Frappato, so you got a little bit more grip there, but it's also more dense in its characteristics as well. So this is a more concentrated, richer wine, and the foods that it goes with is also richer, as you might expect. Now in Sicily, they pair this, for my vegan friends out there, or vegetarian friends out there, with something called caponata, where it's kind of like French ratatouille, but with eggplant, and it's Sicilian. So they have these roasted vegetables that they all put together. So it's a little bit richer. I might actually pair this with a burger myself because it can stand up to a burger, and you're going to get a lot of that black fruit coming out. So that's a richer wine that your guests are going to love. These are all, like I said, crowd-pleasing wines. You're going to have something for everybody there. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this trip to Sicily with me, and until next time, cheers.